Whoa. This chapter. By the way, you're gonna get a rant about Boruto near the end of this video, right? Because we're supposed to be getting monthly chapters which have a pacing that is so bad. It's just so slow. It's impossible. I do believe that they did not plan out this series before they started it, but anyway, that's near the end of the video. If you want to hear my rant about Boruto, stay tuned. Now, enough about that. Let's go back to Attack on Titan and the beast of a chapter we got this month, right? So at the start, it starts off at the restaurant, right? So it turns out that Zeke's spinal fluid was inside the wine. That is pretty much confirmed this chapter, right? The wine was supposed to be served to the Survey Corps, and of course Hanji and the rest get a little bit of insight of how Zeke's spinal fluid has been used before. They used to transport a bunch of Eldians, sneak a bunch of Eldians into a city. Now we don't know exactly which city is being shown in this manga chapter, but it doesn't matter. All you need to do is sneak a couple of Titans inside the city. He does his role and that's it. That's literally it. They've taken over a city effortlessly with no casualties whatsoever, except from Eldians, of course, but those are not really considered in Marleyan eyes as casualties. It's literally that easy. And this comes again to explain why everyone wants the Eldians dead, why everyone is pretty much scared of the Eldians. Now, it is also explained that when someone consumes Zeke's spinal fluid, they freeze, right? They're paralyzed, temporarily paralyzed, right? And here's where the genius is. If the people or the Eldians from Paradise were fed the spinal fluid, they will freeze up, which would pretty much make it obvious that something is going on, right? So the whole plan would have been in jeopardy. People would have picked up, hold on, this guy's frozen, why is that happening after he took this? So then they would have been found out, right? The whole plan would pretty much be jeopardized. Here's the genius of it. They sneaked the spinal fluid into wine because why? When people are getting drunk, they can consume alcohol to a point where they start tumbling over and falling down, right? So wine specifically was used to disguise the after effects of consuming Zeke's spinal fluid, because if someone consumed that wine and fell over, people wouldn't even bat an eye because they'll just think this person's too drunk, they've had a bit too much, right? Even the person himself that has consumed that wine would probably think, yeah, I've had a bit to drink. They wouldn't even think nothing of it. That's the genius of it. The person consuming the wine itself wouldn't think much of it. If you're drunk and you're on the floor, people simply think you've passed out from drinking way too much, or knowing that you've secretly sacrificed yourself to the cause of Zeke. Because Hanji tells everyone to go wash their hands, but honestly, I don't understand what the point of that is. It's over. It's over. Zeke played everyone before he even got on Paradise Island. The scene switches to Mikasa and Armin, right, in a different room along with Gabi. She's sitting there preaching, are you gonna kill me? Do you want to kill me? When are you gonna kill me? I think I've had enough of that right now. It's been ongoing for about 3 chapters now, possibly. But guess what? The best part is, here comes Mr. Eren Yeager, just about when Armin says, you remind me of someone. Mr. Eren Yeager comes in, and this guy, his character is changed. He's a different man now. Like, you wouldn't even, I don't know what happened to, I don't know what Zeke has said to this man. You can tell from this chapter alone, from what Eren's been saying, Zeke's been whispering sweet nothings to this guy. Like, it seems as if he's not his own person anymore. I don't know what Zeke said, but this sweet nothing, literally, it seems as if he's been whispering sweet nothing in Eren's ear. And guess who listens to sweet nothing? Bitches. Eren has officially become Zeke's bitch. The worst part is, he calls this thing, he calls it freedom. He calls this freedom. He strolls through that door with his hand slit, pretty much giving them a warning saying, if you do something stupid, I'ma transform. Strolls through that door, sits down at the table, threatens them not to do nothing stupid, keep the hands on that table, and pretty much tells Mikasa, you were destined to suck my dick, bitch. It's in your blood. You are my thought, not by choice. My existence makes you wet. That's why you've been trying to give me countless opportunities to bust your cheeks. It is in your blood to be my bitch. Listen, man, he enters this room, he just starts firing shots straight away. Number one, the reason why you want to protect me all the time is because your kind, the Akka, meaning the Ackerman family, have access to the power of the Titans without turning into Titans themselves. So they have a human form. So that pretty much confirms that Ackermans can't transform into Titans. But I do question that, because at the end of this chapter we find out that Levi's squad, well, the people that are supposed to be guarding Zeke, consumed the alcohol, Zeke shouts and they all transform into titans. So I am quite curious whether Levi had some of the drink and it somehow didn't affect him, or he didn't have the drink at all. But anyway, coming back to what Eren was telling Mikasa and Armin, the reason Mikasa feels the way she does about Eren is the feelings are not really genuine, is because it's in her blood. She can't do anything about it, right? So Ackermans have, I think they build like a kind of like an attachment towards someone. I believe for Mikasa it's Eren. I believe for Levi that would be possibly Erwin, and for Kenny the Ripper that would probably be Yuri. So with Kenny the Ripper, even after Yuri died, he kept working for the king, right? The king, the descendant of Yuri, the person who Yuri has become pretty much, or the person that Yuri resides in, which will be the next shifter, right? So it would make this chapter pretty much confirms that, in my opinion. So not only was he after the power of the Titan, but he was doing it for Yuri as well somehow, but he himself wasn't aware of that. Same way Mikasa isn't aware the reason she wants to protect Eren is because it's in her blood to do so. Now with Levi, I'm not quite sure, because with Levi, if the person he wanted to protect was, or the person he was fixated on was Erwin, then that would mean at the time he had a chance to give the syringe to Armin or Erwin, if he was fixated on keeping Eren alive, surely he would have given the syringe to Eren. So in that sense, that wouldn't make any sense. But anyway, going back to Eren and Mikasa, Eren says, listen bitch, all those times you want to stroke me, save me, all of this shit, you had no control over that, none of it. And it proves it, because the minute Armin starts to attack Eren, Mikasa instinctually moves her body. This is not the first time this has ever happened. I think the first time we ever saw this was in season 1 of Attack on Titan, right? I think she gave up the will to fight, but her body still moved anyway. And here we see her body moves to protect Eren, even though he said all those things to her, right? He made her cry. He attacked her emotionally as well. It hurts her feelings, because in her head, she believes she's doing this out of her free will, but it's not. So in a way, Eren is being a jackass, but still he's right. It turns out that the previous Titan Shifter's memories somehow influences the current holder, right? So this is the reason why Armin has pretty much been going to Annie to see Annie every time he gets off. I believe he explained he doesn't know why he does that. Now of course, this is not really the first time we've seen the memories of a previous holder affect the current one. There is of course the King's Will, which affects the Race family, right? So whoever inherits the power of the founding Titan is not able to override the King's Will. The next time I see Berthold's memories affecting Armin is when he transformed for the second time we see in the chapter, a couple of chapters ago, when he attacked the Bay, and he must have said, this is what you see, right Berthold, or something along those lines. So Eren pretty much explains to Armin, you're not acting based on your own will anymore, you're acting based on Berthold's memory. So you yourself, you're not your own self, you're not your own person, because I think previously Armin wouldn't sympathize with the enemy, right? But now he's considering it. Now he wants to talk and have a conversation, find other ways around the situation that they're in. But at first, according to Eren, Armin would be the last person to do something like that. And ever since he became a Titan Shifter, all his plans have been failing miserably, which wasn't the case at first. This pretty much explains why Eren is being the jackass that he is right now. Because in his head, he believes they're both robots with programs just running. Mikasa hasn't been herself ever since that day where she was ordered by Eren to kill those people. Same way Armin has been himself since he became a Titan Shifter. So now he thinks of both sides, the Marley and the Eldins, as his ally, right? He wants to protect both sides because of Berthold's memories. Because Berthold is part of him, he kind of sympathizes for those Marleyans. Eren goes as far as calling them slaves. And man, that's deep. This is why I like the title of this chapter, which is Ignorance. Eren has gotten to a point where he knows so much about the world and so much about the Titans. And such knowledge usually breeds arrogance in human beings. What he's saying hurts, but at the end of the day, it's true. It is. So then again, Armin gets mad, goes in for a punch. Mikasa stops him against her own will, right? Goes in again, finally managed to get a hit, right? So think about this. Isayama promised us that Eren and Armin would have a fight, and I'm guessing he's delivering, so Isayama delivers. And of course, Eren having so much combat experience, he obviously easily wins this fight. And Armin goes down and pretty much start doing what every nigga does. When they lose the physical fight, they start using the mouth. He pretty much calls Eren's Zeke's bitch. He says, you know what, the only reason why you're acting the way you are right now is because you've spoken to Zeke. He's made a plan, you're following that plan, and now you're calling yourself free. It's common sense that if someone makes a plan which has a part with you in it, and you follow that plan to fulfill that person's goal, you are directly working underneath that person, therefore you are not free. So in other words, Armin's calling Eren a slave as well. You're slaving for Zeke. Now the scene switches to Levi and his team protecting Zeke, right, guarding Zeke, and Levi pretty much gets informed that the Jaegerists are pretty much coming for Zeke, and Pixis is allowing it in hopes that by the time that Eren gets to Zeke, they would have came up with a counter strategy. Now Levi reflects on the fact that he's had to save Eren countless times, that so many people have died because of this, and how most of it is such a waste. All those lives that have been killed to make Eren, to allow Eren to live, was such a waste since the guy turned against them anyway. They're going to have to destroy something they've worked so hard to protect. And of course that's not something easy, something you've been working so hard for years, and to be told you have to throw it all away. The guy you've risked your life for, the guy that you thought was the savior of humankind, is now on your hit list. Think about extremist Christians who will go the length to do stupid things just to prove how much they worship or love Jesus Christ, only for Jesus Christ to turn around and tell them he never gave a damn about them in the first place. Now pay attention to how Levi has his hand on his head, right? Eren previously mentioned in this chapter that Ackermans get headaches or sudden headaches when their true self resists being forced to protect their host, right? So possibly Levi is getting headaches. The person he's been trying to protect, aka Eren, now has to be killed. So his true self is in conflict with his blood, and thus where the headache possibly comes from. Anyway, Levi then constructs a plan to basically minimize the danger that they're in. Since Zeke is such a problem, Levi devises a plan to feed Zeke to one of the Jaegerists, which doesn't make sense to me, because why would you feed Zeke to one of the Jaegerists, someone who's not on your side, and keep them in captivity until Historia is ready to become a Titan Shifter or the inheritor of the Beast Titan? It would make more sense to me if they fed Zeke to one of the people on their side to save the hassle from keeping the Jaegerists in captivity until Historia is ready. Anyway, Levi decides that he wants to rip off Zeke's limbs before the Jaegerists get there, because if Zeke's limbs are ripped off, he can't Titanize, right? He can't transform. The other reason is if he kills Zeke, the Jaegerists have lost their plan. They've lost their motivation. Now here comes one of the best parts of this chapter. Of course, Zeke probably overheard all of that. The minute Levi comes down, the first thing Zeke asks him, the first thing is there any of that wine left? Now of course, when I was reading it, I did not make that connection. Then Levi goes to tell him that the soldiers have had all of it. Now first of all, soldiers are supposed to be guarding the most dangerous criminal known to them. A Titan Shifter are having wine on duty or being drunk on duty. That's the first mistake. Now the second thing is, at that point Zeke knew they fucked up. At that point Zeke knew it's game over. He's played every one of them. Now the minute Levi turns around to get his tools to execute his job, Zeke says, "Not today, Satan." He stands up, runs the opposite direction and roars. Big bang, Titans everywhere, butchering session cancelled. Titans literally everywhere. I don't know how Levi's gonna get out of this. Does this also mean that Zeke will finally get his revenge on Levi? Because we know for a fact he despises the guy. Literally the last chapter of this year, Attack on Titan, finished this year with a bang. This is the type of quality we should be getting from a monthly based manga chapters. Now if you look at Boruto, and this is where my mini rant starts, if you look at Boruto, every single manga chapter, the monthly manga chapter that we get, feels like it could have been explained in 3 pages. This is what is wrong with Boruto. It's not planned out. You can clearly tell from the chapters. There is little to no progression every single chapter. it is too slow paced. My heart stops when reading those chapters. At the end of every chapter, I find myself saying, bro, you could have explained that in 2 pages. Why did it take that many panels to explain something so basic? It would make more sense if the Boruto chapters were made on a weekly basis. It would make more sense. But on a monthly basis, no. Keep in mind, according to sources, Boruto is doing quite well in Japan. But over here, it's dying. That shit's straight off dying. Most YouTubers have stopped reviewing that stuff, mainly because it's got to the point where we're getting so little content that there is nothing to talk about. This is why I haven't been making many videos at all. The manga and the anime, look how slow the anime is. Every single episode at this point feels like a filler. I mean, we don't even have the manga as a reference point to know what's filler or not. So whether you like it or not, you're gonna have to sit through the anime not knowing whether you're watching filler or not. You don't have an option to skip it due to the fact that we just don't have a reference point from the manga. So we literally have to sit through that torture. And it's getting to the point that people are literally having to make up stuff in order to be able to make content for Boruto. Every chapter, every episode feels so slow. You know why that happens? That's what happens when things are not planned. You can tell it in their work that this hasn't been planned at all. The story has not been planned thoroughly before being released. You know what? I'm gonna make a separate video for that. I don't usually rant, but this needs to be addressed. Attack on Titan is monthly chapters done right, and I think they need to learn from that. If you're gonna make a manga chapter monthly, at least pick up the damn pace, man. I don't usually rate chapters, but I'm gonna give this chapter a 10 out of 10. Since we've been given so much information, we've got answers to questions we didn't even ask. All this foreshadowing, oh man. What I want to know in the comments section down below is, what do you think of Eren's new persona? His confidence, do you think it comes from the fact that he knows so much now? What is Zeke's plan, and who made the Ackerman clan? I'll be making videos about these topics, and people who have the best arguments may be featured in those videos. So let me know your opinions in the comment section down below, and I have nothing more to say. Bye.